how is Action Express going to change from finishing second and third in the championship to finishing first and second. And in all honesty, the changes that were made internally with both with personnel all the way through what the technical department did to take on the championship this year, we had the strongest potential we've had in a while to finish 1-2 in the championship. At the end of the day, that's still our objective and that's our goal.
This season has definitely been one to remember. Between getting new crew chiefs, between new drivers, it's like I didn't know what to expect.
Everything was new to me, so I didn't really, notice those changes because I was new. It was just learn everything as quick as possible and get back to business as usual.
2018 being the first year for me on the 31 car, started off really well at the Roar, which early success helped my transition a lot.
In the middle part of the season was just trying to get points or save points. We had some good finishes when we didn't have the greatest car.
It was an up and down year for sure, but Tim Keen has a unique way of calling a race, and he ain't afraid to pit at any given time if he feels like it puts us in a better position to be there at the end.
That showed throughout the rest of the season that, even though that we weren't winning, we were still up there. It's like between our pit stops, between strategy on the stand, between our drivers, we were right there.
Well, really, Petit Le Mans was an interesting race this year. For me, it was our entire season rolled into one race. You had all the extreme highs of leading by a large gap to the lows of watching your championship slip away with 20 minutes left in the race.
Going into Petit, we had a 4-point lead over the 54 car. When you have the lead going in, you need to protect that lead as well. So it kind of changes your mindset and how you strategize, the race.
I think the 31 car and the 5 car were both managing their races really well. Both could get to the front. It seemed like both at the end of 10 hours were going to be there for a potential win, and we were certainly in a position to do what we had to do for points against the 54 car.
We needed to finish within 2 spots of them. So I was more worried about getting to the end of the race incident free and then being able to battle with them at the end.
The team was focused. We knew what our job was, and we had one car to beat. In doing that, we had to make certain changes and adapt. Working with Tim on the stand to come out with the best way to go forward, not only for the NAAC championship, but also for the championship overall.
Watching the races on TV is tough because you're limited in what you can hear as far as what's going on with the car, and you don't have all the data screens that you have, and you're not listening to the drivers talk to the box. 31 car starts slowing down, and I think we're saving gas, we're going to make it and for fuel deal, but then it kept getting slower and slower and slower, and I'm thinking, what in the world's going on?
Felipe Nasser tells us that he's losing power and can't pass a GTLM car on the straights. So our engine guy looks at all the data, and all the vitals for the engine are good. So that's got us questioning what's going on, but we're losing power.
We're kind of going downhill, and then we get that call about the power loss, and it's like, cross our fingers, and I hope that motor stays together, but we found out that it wasn't the motor, it was a giant piece of rubber in front of the intake.
So we basically had a restrictor and a half. So we figured it was about a 7-mile-an-hour top speed loss down the straights. Being so far down in power, we had no choice but to try to make it without having to stop again. So we backed it way down, and we were doing GTLM type lap times if we wanted to go slower than that. And the 54 decided they were going to check out and try to build up a big enough gap where they could pit and still finish those 2 to 3 positions ahead of us to win the championship.
Where we're running with the 31 versus where the 54 car is, the 54 is going to win the championship by 1 point.
This was 45 minutes of it just looks bad. They're going to win the championship. They're running fourth. We're running ninth. We're the last car on the lead lap.
Our disadvantage actually ended up being our advantage. By having the car lose power at the end of the race, we were able to go for the entire last stint, and hitting amazing fuel numbers and not losing a lap was really Philippe's job.
When the 54 come down pit road, I'm sitting there praying that if no one else comes down pit road, we're still gonna win the championship.
There's a chance here. There's a chance to be champions again.
So when they come out of pit lane, they're running 7th. We're still 9th. So now we're in the championship effectively as they run. So the whole time you're standing around, running, walking around, just kind of stressing and crossing your fingers and your toes and your hair and everything you can think of. We were like half a lap behind the 5 car on the white flag lap. Even if the 5 car crosses the finish line and wins the race, or whoever crosses the finish line, we need everybody else between them and us to cross the finish line so the 54 doesn't gain any positions on us.
We're waiting for that car to come around. I mean, we're hoping and praying that car makes it all the way around. And then all of a sudden we see the 5 car just rolling across the line. And we're like, oh God.
So much was out of our control.
I wasn't sure when I got up on the wall that we were going to win the championship.
During the last lap, you just got up on the wall and waited to that checkered flag.
And then the next thing I hear out of Tim is we just won the championship. You go from, I don't know what's going to happen, to you've just won everything you've been working for all year. Everybody just erupts and the hugs start, and I mean I was in tears. It's it's a great feeling to win championships.
It's just very emotional because all the hard work, all the sweat, all the tears, everything just it fell into place, and it worked out, and you completed the goal.
It was just a rager of emotions. I don't think I've yelled more than I ever have. It was crazy. That was probably the most exciting and stressful race I've ever been a part of.
One thing that happens when you're at the racetrack is you recognize that the only people that understand the workload that you're going through and the effort you're putting forth are your competitors. The biggest compliment you can get at the race is the respect of your competitors. And without a doubt, both the 31 and the 54 respected each other all the way to the end of the championship, giving it everything that they had. That was truly to the wire, the very last moment. And that, I think, in the end, is what proves how long your race team is going to remain on top.
Gary Nelson told us 4 years ago that he wanted to have a dynasty, and we're busting our butts to give him one. So I don't know how many more championships it's going to take, but 9 out of the last 10 sounds good.